The State Department has finalized a plan to resettle at least 10,000 Syrian refugees next year in cities and towns across the U.S. Around 100 of them are headed to Rutland, Vermont, population 16,000. When the mayor proposed welcoming them earlier this year, he was sure his town would support the move. Correspondent Josh Hirsch found out that wasn't the case.
Make me a note to remind me of something.
Anything in particular?
Yeah.
What?
Rutland Mayor Chris Loris's office is busier than ever.
Can I get a signature?
Yes, ma'am.
When the five-term mayor proposed this spring to open the town to 100 Syrian refugees, the usual trickle of mail and calls became a torrent.
Who are you looking for? That's me.
And then there are the residents who just show up.
I have something for you I'd like you to read.
Sure.
I have to be honest with you, I'm vacillating about what you're doing. I'm for it and I'm against it.
What's the for and what's the against?
The for is that these people have got a place, they need a place to go.
Indeed.
The bad about it is, I think, personally, based on what's going on in France, Belgium, and Germany, that they're going to slip a couple of ISIS guys in that group.
The reality is if somebody wants to try to get through,
Yeah.
they're going to come through that avenue you described as far as Europe is concerned. They're not going to make it through a refugee resettlement vetting process with the security measures that are in place.
Thanks again.
Okay, no, well, thank you.
Does that happen a lot? Do you have people come by with...
Yeah, all the time.
And how does it normally go? I mean, what did he want?
It depends.
Yeah.
The lion's share of the pushback in the community is really based on fear. Some of it rational, some of it irrational. And I think what you heard articulated by that gentleman was a rational fear. And anytime someone has a rational fear, they can be swayed and are accepting of the facts.
There still aren't any Syrian refugees living in Rutland. But in the months since Mayor Loris first announced his resettlement plan, it's come to feel like ground zero for the ugly debate over immigration and terrorism. Anti-immigrant speakers have come to town, appearing in front of packed crowds. Conservative, DC-based organizations are investigating the mayor, and the bitterness between neighbors is as bad as anyone in town can remember. Kelly Cross is a member of Rutland First, which was founded this spring to oppose the resettlement.
This is probably the biggest thing that's ever rocked Rutland City since I've lived here, and I've lived here pretty much my whole life. I don't ever remember anything being like this, ever. I mean, it has divided our community literally into two.
She thinks that the city, which is facing an economic downturn and an ongoing heroin problem, is in a bad position to host refugees. But she says what really makes her mad is that the mayor made the plan in secret, and that locals asking questions about it were shot down.
You guys started asking questions, right? Is that what happened?
Yes.
And what did you discover?
We got a lot of pushback. How dare you ask questions? It's not your place to ask questions. You're a racist. You're a bigot. We understand the humanitarian aspect, absolutely, but you can't go with just your heart for every matter, unfortunately.
Mayor Loris doesn't see it this way.
Fact is that Rutland's very identity, its soul, is based on the immigrant population from Southern and Eastern Europe that came here at the turn of the century. That gave this community the level of cultural diversity that it enjoys today, and it's time to take that to the 21st century.
Wish us luck.
Meanwhile, he still prefers to see Rutland streets as the same old friendly place, where you know the guy who sells you coffee and might run into a friend on his way to work.
And there's William Knott. He's the president of the Board of Aldermen.
You walked into a trap.
Yeah, I saw that coming, but
It's a trap.
I mean, the aldermen are pretty split.
yes. Yeah, I think that's fair to say. People aren't afraid to... People aren't afraid to express their opinions.
What did he say?
He asked me if I had my Sharia memorized. With the majority of folks, I believe they will be willing to bridge that divide. But at the same time, there's also got to be a recognition there are some cats, like the gentleman just across the street here, who there's no healing there. There's something else driving that train.
Are you worried that this could last into next year, into the re-election?
I don't care about re-election. Give two holy hells. this was the right thing to do. If it cost me the job, it cost me the job. And I'm saying that sincerely.